good as gold, it's Oklahoma grown. It's good as gold, it's Oklahoma grown. It's good as gold, it's Oklahoma grown.
I'm Chris Lauer, executive producer of the Oklahoma Kitchen. The Oklahoma Kitchen highlights the best local products that Oklahoma has to offer, with tips and techniques from Oklahoma's finest chef, Kurt Fleischfresser. Our typical show starts with a field trip somewhere in Oklahoma where fine food products are being made or grown. We visited farmers markets, mushroom farms, herb farms, venison ranches, and we don't feel we've even scratched the surface of what Oklahoma has to offer. From time to time, we will mix up the format a little to showcase visiting chefs and other special food events happening in the state. After our field trip, we return to our studio kitchen, or occasionally we cook on location. But here, Chef Kurt shows viewers how to use these homegrown products to their best advantage. Kurt is recognized nationally as one of the country's finest chefs. He's been featured on national television, in national magazines, and a very successful cookbook. He has also worked in some of America's finest restaurants. He calls Oklahoma home because he likes the relaxed pace and quality of life that the state offers, and we're very lucky to have him here. The reason that Kurt's cooking classes are sold out months in advance is the same reason that the show works. Kurt teaches techniques, not just recipes, and he's entertaining while doing it. The Oklahoma Kitchen is both fun and informative. We want to give Oklahomans ownership in the best that the state has to offer in food, wine, and the art of cooking. We invite you to join us in this adventure. Here's the Oklahoma Kitchen a la carte. First, for a little appetizer, take a look at some of our road trips.
My perspective is, and which I like the pairing, is I try to bring out the most in the wine. So I have a lot of fun tasting the wine and then picking out components of food that are just going to make that wine shine. So that's how I like to do it.
Like you were saying, the people in the wine industry and people in the restaurant industry are not really the snobs, because if you go to probably the top wine experts will tell you if you like Ripple on the Rocks, drink it.
Sure.
It's just that simple. If you like it, that's your wine.
It's a personal
you
taste.
drink it.
Yeah. We're in Krebs, Oklahoma, and I'm talking to Sam Lavera. Sam, tell me a little bit about Krebs. How did this nice little Italian grocery store wind up in Krebs?
Well, there were a lot of immigrants that came to Krebs in the early 1900s to work in the coal mines. And after the coal mines closed in the 30s, a lot of the people left, went to the industrial cities in the north. But my parents stayed here, and they kept this little grocery store running. And now we're not into groceries as much as we used to be. We're more into production of cheese and wholesale cheese and Italian sausage.
And we're also going to do a variation on a standard peach pie, an old-fashioned one, but this one is going to have roasted peaches in it to really concentrate the flavor. We're doing these peach shows because we were in Porter last week for the Porter Peach Festival. We found out that the Porter Peach Festival is more than just peaches. They have a lot of special events and a lot of good community spirit down there, and we had a really good time. I have to ask her exactly what her favorite peach dessert is.
I like peaches just plain. That's my favorite.
Plain peaches?
Yes, just fresh peaches.
What's your favorite peach dessert?
My favorite peach dessert is peach cobbler that my wife makes very well.
The peach hot sauce.
Fleischfresser, welcome to a very special edition of the Oklahoma Kitchen. I'm in Greenwich Village, New York City, in front of the former home of James Beard. James Beard authored 21 cookbooks, a famous culinarian who raised the level of awareness on American regional foods and helped a lot of chefs get their start. Julia Childs, when he passed away, had a great idea to turn his house into a place for chefs to come from around the country, cook, get experience in New York, have New Yorkers have experience of foods all over the country. And tonight, I'm cooking in here.
Here are a few entrees from our kitchen.
This sauce, you can use it light, or you can actually reduce it down into a syrup and use it as a glaze. It depends on what you're trying to get from it. Reduced to a glaze would probably be great with these noisettes. Since I have these potatoes on this dish, I want it a little lighter, so I'm going to go ahead and put some of that on here. I mean, you can really smell the garlic and the parsley and everything working on that one. Let that reduce a minute. We'll go ahead and take a little piece of red pepper for garnish on this. There you go. That's a nice little presentation. We're going to buck tradition a little bit. We're making some different items for after Thanksgiving, and we're going to make a cranberry vinaigrette, and this is a great thing to have in your refrigerator around the holidays. It's good on a lot of different things. I mean, you can marinate chicken breasts and grill them. You can put it on meat. You can make all kinds of salads with this, but the vinaigrette's going to be our base, and then we'll make a nice vegetable salad with it. By sautéing the shrimp and making the sauce all in one pan, we're really concentrating the flavors. Now what I'm going to do is I've got some dry white wine here that I'm going to deglaze with. A couple ounces. You can put as much as you like. If you put too much, just make sure you reduce it down. You don't want the alcohol to be left in the sauce because the alcohol neutralizes the sauce. And now that I've cooked off my wine, I'm going to go ahead and add some cream. And you only need to add about 1.5 ounces per person. And I'm going to make a little turban in the middle here for a nice presentation. And the trick to that is to go ahead and get long strands of pasta all the way up off the bowl and twist it around. And then you just set it in the middle of the plate and turn it back a half a turn and lift up. And you have a nice little turban of pasta. And then what I'm going to do is take some shrimp, put them around. Another option is you just throw it all together, but I mean this is, we'll do a fancy presentation here. And then I'm going to take a little of the sauce and drizzle that around. Very aromatic. This is going to really show our wine very well. My mother-in-law is going to cringe. I'm making a traditional pie. For all the cakes and tarts and special desserts I've made, I haven't made many straightforward pies. Of course, I have to have my own twist. And it starts by, in a skillet, I'm going to put 3/4 of a cup of dried breadcrumbs. I'm going to put 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. And I'm going to mix that together. And what I'm doing is I'm going to roast the skins off the peaches, like I talked about last segment. The blanching them in water, you lose a lot of the flavor, and I don't want to lose that flavor. I want it all to be in my pie. So what I'm doing is just basically splitting the peaches, removing the pits, if you like it that way, taking the rest of the peaches, putting them cut side down on the brown sugar and breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to put about 1/4 of a cup of unsalted butter divided up between the peaches. And what that does is it washes over the skin of the peach and gets the kind of the tartness from the peach. When I remove the skin, that'll leave me all the flavor in the pan. So I'm going to stick that in the oven at about 400 degrees. I just happen to have already made one of these pies right here. I'm going to serve this with a little cinnamon whipped cream and some fresh blackberries. And there's our peach pie.
For dessert, outdoor cooking and guest chefs.
Not everybody's thinking of grilling right away after we go see these cheeses being made and think of cheese on the grill, but one of my favorite things is pizza. And pizza on the grill is a real treat. You don't have to heat up your house. You can make it out here and you have a nice earthy flavor, and even that little crusty burned edges, kind of like you get right out of a hearth baked oven. You got some jalapenos and some red pepper, some zucchini. All of these make great pizza toppings. And I'm going to grill those while we're grilling the pizzas. Chopped chives on one. And they're very user-friendly recipes. You mix and match as you like. I'm just putting everything on that I like to put on these grilled pizzas. And put some of this corn on there. Very, very summery, very fresh. Look. And there we have our grilled pizza. Come back in a few minutes and we'll do some more things with this wonderful cheese. It's kind of the colony of ants back here just working all over this right here. And that's the beauty of having a guest chef at the restaurants, is all our chefs get to work and see different styles and see different techniques for getting everything together. Today we have a special edition of the Oklahoma Kitchen. We have Chef Deborah Madison from Santa Fe, a Chez Panisse alum, the founder of the Greens restaurant. She was the founding chef. Cafe Escalera in Santa Fe. She's a cookbook author. I have one of her current cookbooks right now, the Vegetarian Table, the America edition. She's got a lot of interesting tricks and things to do with vegetables, and we're going to do it in my kitchen here at the Coach House, and we're going to put this in at about 350, 375.
Yeah, 375 will give it a little faster rise. This is a very light but aromatic entree. It's not going to be really filling and heavy the way, you know, other things might be, but it's just sensational for flavor.
And you flavored that with thyme.
With just fresh thyme, a little pepper, and the cheese really carries the day.
And I love goat cheese.
On that.
So
good.
We'll be back in a minute, and we'll see how the goat cheese souffle turns out. Well, they're getting everything set up for tonight.
That's right.
Before we go back and cook, you have to tell me about your excursion to the White House.
That's right. I must say I was lucky enough to be the first guest chefs going to the White House to make a presentation. I guess
they don't normally let chefs just get into the White House and start cooking. It's
that's right.
It's
We're
a big
getting invited,
deal.
and I think it was an enormous big deal. And I must say the first time that I went to the White House was coincidentally the 14th of July, which was Bastille Day. That's the night I cooked for the president, and it was extremely exciting. I must say.
That's great. Then he's asked you back.
And then I get invited back. Yeah, so it was absolutely fabulous.
The first and second. That's great.
First and second at the White House. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you coming today. I think I have to end on this really decadent note. You've got he's got a little truffle vichyssoise.
That's right, a little truffle vichyssoise, and we're serving that in an eggshell. And to make it really easy, actually I put a little straw in there, so instead of having to play with a little spoon, you just actually drink it, and it has lots of flavor. It's very concentrated. It's fabulous.
Wow, that is great.
All right, that's going to be.
Well, thanks for tuning in to the Oklahoma Kitchen. Join us again next week, same time, same place.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's our menu. Thanks for taking the time to watch. In closing, we want to thank KOCO-TV Channel 5 in Oklahoma City for airing our program on Saturday mornings at 10:30, as well as sponsors such as Diet Coke, the Oklahoma Beef Industry Council, the Oklahoma Pork Council, Cane's Coffee, the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, and many others for helping us to get this exciting pro-Oklahoma program off the ground. For information on becoming a sponsor of the Oklahoma Kitchen, call Saeed Sarani at area code 405-840-3288.
It's good as gold, it's Oklahoma grown. It's good as gold, it's Oklahoma grown.